Katie here from the Scrappy Sisters, and I am up today with a long-awaited video, at least on my part. This is the first layout that I am doing of my son. So most of you who follow our channel will know that I was pregnant last year, and my son was due on the 8th of February, and he decided to arrive not quite early, but a little bit early, on the 22nd of January. So he was 2.5 weeks early, sorry. 2.5 weeks early. So we weren't really anticipating him then. It was a bit of a surprise for my partner and I that he decided to grace us with his presence slightly earlier than anticipated. We still had quite a few things to do. I didn't even have a car seat in our car yet. And I'll preface this by saying I'm probably going to talk a lot about my son in this video. So if you would prefer me to talk through the process, that's probably not going to happen much. So feel free to click out of it. I won't be offended. But if you want to hear a little bit about our son and his birth story, then please keep listening. I will just say also I'm using the Kaisercraft Hide and Seek collection, which I've had for a little while in anticipation of my son arriving. So that's the collection, and it's everything from there apart from the stickers is from that collection. So just so you know, I'll say that in advance. I think if you watched the last video that we uploaded, or that I uploaded onto this channel, which was a rainbow layout, I alluded to the fact that our son's arrival was an interesting experience for us. So as I said, he was born on the 22nd. I should tell you his name. His name is Lincoln, Lincoln Archer. He was born on the 22nd of January at 11:04 in the morning, and he weighed a very small 2.33 kilograms, which is 5.1 pounds. So he was quite small. We knew he was going to be small, but he was probably a little bit smaller than we were anticipating. He was 2.5 weeks early. And then I had a great delivery, all natural, you know, nothing kind of unusual happened or anything like that. We had a good labour and a good delivery, but we did find out around 2 to 3 hours after he was born that he was actually born with quite a serious birth condition, or a condition that we were not aware of. It didn't show up in ultrasounds or anything like that. It's it's not a birth defect, I won't say that, but it is something that happens in utero, where he's got a condition called TOF, and it's where his esophagus and trachea or windpipe haven't formed properly, and his esophagus was connected to his windpipe instead of separate, which means he couldn't swallow and he couldn't eat. And so it is quite serious. Obviously, without surgery, he wouldn't have survived because he couldn't eat anything, he couldn't swallow. And the paediatrician at the hospital where we gave birth picked this up within a couple of hours of Lincoln being born. So to cut a very long story short, on the same day, on the 22nd of January, the day that Lincoln was born, that evening he was actually transferred to the Royal Children's Hospital in Melbourne, which is one of the leading children's hospitals. I don't know about the world, I can't speak for the world, but certainly in Australia. So he went off to one of the best hospitals in Australia, and 2 days later he had surgery, and we ended up staying at the Royal Children's Hospital for 16 days before he could come home. And he was fed just with fluids for the first, I think it was 2 and a bit weeks of his life, and then he was able to feed from me, and he's doing really well, and he's come home, and yeah, he's kicking goals, he's putting on weight as of filming this video, which I'm actually filming on the 7th of March. He has done really, really well, and he's put on quite a lot of weight, and he is almost at 4 kilos. I don't know what that is in pounds, sorry. I don't do pounds. Funnily enough, though, when we talk weights of babies, that's one of the only things we use pounds for in Australia. So all you Americans that still talk pounds, We do often refer to pounds here in Australia when we're talking about the weights of our babies. But I only know when he was born that he was 5.1 pound. I don't know what 4 kilos equals in pounds. But he is gaining weight like a champion. He's feeding really well. He's doing really well. He recovered really well from his surgery. There will be some ongoing things that we need to support him with as he gets older and is weaned and things like that, because obviously he's had quite major surgery on his esophagus and his windpipe, and that has some kind of lifelong, I guess, implications, but we won't know what they are yet until he gets a bit older. So yeah, that's little Lincoln. We've been home now for quite a while. He's 6 weeks old this week, so he's been home for 2 and a bit weeks. Feels like a lot longer, I tell you that. He's doing everything that he should be. He's, not sleeping particularly well, but that's typical newborn. And yeah, he's doing really well. He's feeding well. I mean, he is sleeping well, but he only sleeps for a few hours and then he's back up again. So, the usual unbroken sleep that you get as a mother. Yeah, it's all happening. So this is it. This is him. He's here. Yay. And there's not much else to say, really. I'm tired, but I'm doing really well. Jess's kids, well, Tom is far too little to even understand that he has a cousin, but Jack loves Lincoln and loves seeing him and gives him heaps of kisses and cuddles, and he's really excited about having another little baby in the family. So that's been fun, and I've only seen a little bit of them because Jess's kids have been a bit sick, and because of Lincoln's condition and his surgery, he is more susceptible to just regular everyday colds becoming chest infections that need antibiotics. So we just have to be a little bit more aware of that. Yeah. So I will talk about the layout quickly because I really wanted to get this ephemera piece that says "Be brave, little bear." I knew I had to get that on the layout because obviously it's a story that relates to Link. This picture was taken at the Royal Children's Hospital when he was on his 2nd day of life. So on the 23rd, this was taken. And you can't see it here, but he has a lot of wires and tubes and whatnot attached to him. He had cannulas in both his arms and one of his legs, as well as heart rate monitors and breathing oxygen monitors, and all of that stuff was connected to him, but nothing was on his face at this point. So that's why I took this photo, because you can't tell he's even in hospital, but he is. So I've got lots of photos of him in hospital. I don't know how many of them I will scrap because they might be a little bit confronting for some people. Obviously, because he had surgery, he was on a ventilator for a few days. Even though he had nothing wrong, he could breathe fine, but because he had the surgery and he was put under, obviously, a general anaesthetic for that, they always come back on a ventilator and stay on a ventilator while the morphine is still in their system, because they're so little, the morphine really can affect their breathing. So, yeah, he was on a ventilator for a few days, and then he was also on a feeding tube for quite some time. So he had a tube in his nose where he received nothing for quite a while, and then he received my breast milk, which I had to pump. So yeah, it was quite a journey, quite an experience. Not something I would care to relive, but he was at an amazing hospital and he had amazing doctors and nurses looking after him. And yeah, it was just one of those things that I guess, I'm not a particularly religious person, but they say things happen for a reason, and he's certainly a beautiful little boy, and both my partner and I have been quite strong throughout this process, and I think it's really goes to show you that no matter what life throws you, you just rise to the challenge. So yeah, he's doing super well, kicking goals, really being a regular cute little newborn. He's starting to almost smile. He hasn't quite smiled yet, apart from wind smiles, but not real smiles. He hasn't quite got there yet, but you can see that he's very close. And he's becoming a lot more alert and looking at you, and he recognises me and his dad, and yeah, it's just lovely. So yes, enjoying life with a newborn for the moment, and looking forward to maybe when he sleeps just slightly longer stretches overnight. I won't lie, but yeah, we are getting there. So I will say that I've nearly finished this layout. It's a pretty basic one. I did do a little bit of planning before I filmed this. I did not realise how much tiredness affects your creativity. I really struggled to even scrap because I am tired. And even though I've got some time on my hands, my mother-in-law actually lives in a granny flat on our property. So she very kindly takes Lincoln for one of his sort of sleep times for me most days. So I usually get, 2.5 hours of alone time, which I know is amazing and rare for new parents. So I am certainly not taking that for granted, but I either use it to have a nap or just to do something for myself. So today I decided that, yes, I am tired. Yes, I could have had a nap, but I just wanted to do something for myself and I wanted to scrap. So I did. And I created this layout and edited it and did my voiceover all at the same time because I knew if I didn't, it would never finish. Now, I should have edited this out, but I didn't. Because this layout didn't take me very long to do, I actually didn't edit anything out. This is the whole process. And so normally I would edit out this part of me doing the title because you've seen the title, which is just Lincoln Archer, 22nd of the 1st, 2019. Sorry, all of you Americans who think I write the date wrong. That is how we write the date here in Australia. The day comes first, and then the month, and then the year. Yeah, so the title is just his name and date of birth. So you probably didn't need to see me stick it down. And I was sticking it down with glue, but then I decided that they were actually sticky enough that I didn't need that. And I am using a ruler, which I never do. I don't know if it makes a difference, but I used it. Particularly not now because, oh no, I do straighten it up. I was like, it wasn't even straight. So I'm just putting the date on and then I'm going to add some Heidi Swapp Colour Shine and we're done. So this layout was quite quick to put together because I had done a little bit of planning in the sense of I decided I wanted those 2 pieces of pattern paper in the background which I'd pre-ripped. And yeah, I knew what collection I was using. I knew what ephemera pieces sort of that I was using. I'd gotten out a selection that I thought would work. And I knew that I wanted to get that Be Brave Little Bear piece on the layout. And I knew I wanted the little My Boy ephemera piece up in the top left. And I knew I wanted the Dream Big little one in the bottom left. And this layout does have some touches of pink on it because there's a lot of pink in the collection and some of the bits of ephemera that were pink I think are really cute and I wanted to include them. So I just added a tiny little bit of pink in one of the pieces of pattern paper behind the photo and then a few little pink embellishments around the page and I think it looks great. So I'm adding the gold Heidi Swapp Colour Shine and the navy Heidi Swapp Colour Shine and that's it. I'll show you the close-ups and we're done. So thanks for watching. Thanks for meeting my son. You'll see a lot more of him on this channel as I catch up. I've still got a few layouts from 2018 to go, but then you'll see a lot more of him. So we'll see you in the next video. Thanks for listening to my rambling. All right, guys. Bye.